What's up everybody, Weston here with the Hidden Gibbon, back with another daily deck tech video. And today we have ourselves another viewer request. This time for Zopandrel, the Hunger Dominus. So without further ado, let's get straight into it. This deck is coming in at about $330. As always with any of my deck techs, think of these as kind of like a general themed guide, and you can change it however you want to fit your needs, be it budget, theme, etc. But let's get into it. So who's Zopandrel, the Hunger Dominus? He's a 4/6, 4/5 generic and double green, has reach, and at the beginning of each combat, double the power and toughness of each creature you control until end of turn. Then you can also pay double Phyrexian green and sacrifice 2 other creatures to put an indestructible counter on Zopandrel, the Hunger Dominus. So Zopandrel costs 1 billion mana, but we are in green, so we're going to try to get him out quickly, and then we're going to have some big old Chungus creatures to try to do big old Chungus things, and then beat our opponents to death with them. So, how are we going to do that? Well, part of our ramp package here is going to be Nissa, who shakes the world. Nissa is a 5 loyalty planeswalker, and the use that we're going to get out of her today is whenever you tap a forest for mana, you add an additional green. And then you can +1 her to put 3 1/1 counters on up to 1 target non-creature land you control. Untap it, it becomes a 0/0 elemental creature with vigilance and haste until end of turn. What's really important with this is you can tap one of your forests for 2, and then you can use this ability to untap it, and then you get 4 mana out of it. And then you can -8 her to search your library for any number of forest cards and put them onto the battlefield tapped, and then shuffle your library, and then lands you control are indestructible for the rest of the game. Oh, well, an emblem that gives them indestructible. Now, for our creature package, we are running 24 in here because this is green beats through and through. We have Aggressive Mammoth with Trample. Other creatures you control have Trample. We have Apex Devastator, Cascade, 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 Cascade. As you can see here, the creature package is going to be doing a lot of things to just try to trample over. Aggressive Mammoth is in here to give our stuff trample, so that way we aren't tripping over other people's elves. We have Beast Whisper in here, so whenever we cast a creature spell, we get to draw a card. We have Craterhoof Behemoth in here. Craterhoof is one of the more expensive cards in the deck. You know, obviously gives everything +X/+X. And gives them all trample until end of turn. We've got Elvish Mystic for mana dork, Fanatic of Ronus for a mana dork, who will be turned on to a tap for 4 pretty easily because a lot of our creatures are very big. We have Fintorn Elves, Llanowar Elves as well, and Llanowar Tribe in here. I'm trying to think. Oh, yes, and we did also put Transdimensional Bovine because it adds for 2 mana. Then, continuing on with our big Chungus creatures, we've got Gulta Primal Hunger. Of course, it costs 12, but it costs X less, where X is the total power of creatures you control. So it's very easy in this deck for this to cost 2. It's 12/12 for 12, or 12/12 that tramples. We have Gulta Stampede Tyrant. It's a 12/12 for 8. It tramples, and when it enters the battlefield, you can put any number of creature cards from your hand onto the battlefield. We have Gigantosaurus, which is a 10/10 for 5. It trips over elves until you give it trample. We have God Eternal Ronus. When he enters, you double the power of each other creature you control until end of turn. Those creatures gain vigilance until end of turn. And then when it dies or is put in exile, you can put it into its owner's library, 3rd from the top. So it's easy for him to come back and then redo his effect. We have a Ground Chuck and Dirtbag. It's an 8/8 for 6 with trample and lets your lands tap for an additional green. We have Vigor, also known as Heralds of Shredder. It's a 6/6 for 6, trample. If damage would be dealt to another creature you control, prevent that damage. Put a 1/1 counter on that creature for each 1 damage prevented this way. And whenever Heralds of Shredder, aka Vigor, is put into a graveyard from anywhere, shuffle into its owner's library. We have Hulking Raptor, which is a 5/3 for 4, which has Ward 2 and gives you 2 green at the beginning of your pre-combat main phase. We got Kolga, also known as King Kong we have at home. When it enters the battlefield, it fights another creature, and whenever it attacks, destroy target artifact, enchantment, or artifact or enchantment defending player controls, giving you a little bit of artifact removal utility there. You can also pay 2 to return target human you control to its owner's hand. We don't have any humans. to have Kolga gain Indestructible. Oh. We have Michelangelo, Mutant BFF, which is a 4/4 for 4. Each creature you control with a counter on it can't be blocked by more than one creature. And whenever Michelangelo enters or attacks, create a mutagen token. So, when you have a bunch of creatures with trample, having it so they can't be blocked by more than one creature makes it so you're going to get through for a lot of damage. We have Ogier Castlem, Deepest Growth. This is one of my favorite Magic cards. It's a 6/5 for 5. Trample, and when it deals combat damage to a player, reveal that many cards from the top of your library. You can put a creature and or a land card from among them onto the battlefield. Put the rest on the bottom in a random order. And then when it dies, return it to the battlefield as Temple of Cultivation. You can tap for green, or you can transform it only if you have 10 or more permanents, and only as a sorcery. We have Old One-Eye, 6/6 or 6. Other creatures you control of trample. See the theme here. We're trying to get our stuff trample. When Old One-Eye enters the battlefield, create a 5/5 green Tyranid creature token. And at the beginning of your pre-combat main phase, you may discard 2 cards. If you do, return Old One-Eye from your graveyard to your hand. So it does have some recursion. Rampaging Baloth, since we are going to have a lot of ramp in here, creating a whole lot of Rampaging Baloth 4/4 green creature tokens is pretty strong. It's also a 6/6 for 6 with trample. We have Surak and Goreclaw. Trample, other creatures you control have trample, and whenever another non-token creature enters the battlefield under your control, put a 1/1 counter on it, gains haste. And then we have Tyrannix Rex. It can't be countered. It tramples, it has Ward 4, and it has haste and Toxic 4. The card is pretty good for 7. Sorceries. Big splashy spells. We'll go over those first. We have Genesis Wave. You can pay X in triple green. Reveal X cards from the top of your library. You may put any number of permanent cards. Mana value X or less from among them onto the battlefield. Then put all cards revealed this way that weren't put onto the battlefield into your graveyard. We have Overwhelming Stampede. Everything will get trample plus X, where X is the greatest power. We have Overrun, and we have Tooth and Nail. Tooth and Nail used to be a really strong card. It's been power crept. You can choose one, but if you entwine for 9, you can choose both. Search your library for up to 2 creatures, reveal them, put them into your hand, and then the second part is put 2 creature cards from your hand onto the battlefield. I'm sorry about yawning. I got 2 hours of sleep today, friends. 2 hours. We got Traverse the Outlands. Search your library for X basic lands, where X is the greatest power amongst creatures you control. Rishkar's Expertise lets you draw a whole bunch of cards, and then you can cast a spell of 5 or less. And then we have an absurd amount of ramp. We have Cultivate, Nature's Lore, Kodama's Reach, Rampant Growth, Sky Shard Claim. For other draw spells, we have Harmonize. And then we have Shamanic Revelations. Draw a card for each creature you control. And then you gain 4 life for each creature you control with power 4 or greater. Instants, we have 10. We have one straight up removal spell in Beast Within. Then we also have a couple bite spells with Bite Down and Infectious Bite. For ramp, we have Entish Restoration and Harrow. For protection, we have Temia's Safekeeping, Tyvar's Stand, Overprotect, and Gaia's Gift. And then for draw, we have Momentous Fall. You sack a creature, you draw cards equal to its power, gain life equal to its toughness. Artifacts, we are running Soul Ring, Emerald Medallion, as well as Gauntlet of Power and Cage Sun, just because we need to get the mana out there to cast our big things. We do have Lightning Greaves and Swiftfoot Boots as well. We also have Novel Nunchaku, which is when it enters, attach it to a creature you control. When you do, it gets to fight, so this is kind of a removal spell. And then the equipped creature gets +1/+1 in trample. We have the Skullspore Nexus. It costs X less, where X is the greatest power amongst creatures you control. And whenever one or more non-token creatures you control die, create a green fungus creature token with base power and toughness, each equal to the total power of those creatures. And then you can tap to double target creature's power till end of turn. For our enchantments, we got Colossal Majesty. At the beginning of your upkeep, if you have a creature power 4 or greater, draw a card. Up the Beanstalk. When you cast it or a spell with mana value 5 or greater, draw a card. Guruk's Uprising. When this enchantment enters, if you control a creature power 4 or greater, draw a card. Creatures you control have trample. And whenever a creature you control power 4 or greater enters, draw a card. We have Unnatural Growth. At the beginning of each combat phase, double the power and toughness of each creature you control. Defense of the Heart, so during your upkeep, if one or more opponents control 3 or more creatures, sack it, search for 2 creatures, put them onto the battlefield. And then we have Concordant Crossroads, which gives all creatures, not just your own, but all creatures, haste. For lands, we have Avendo, Rogue's Passage, Terramorphic Expanse, Evolving Wilds, 32 Forests, and a Myriad Landscape. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. It's green, it's straightforward, it's fun to do, big stompy things. As always, I'm Weston with the Hidden Gibbon. This video might be a little late today because for some reason Canva seems to be having a DNS problem, and that's where I do a lot of my editing. But as always, I'm Weston with the Hidden Gibbon. I hope you all have a wonderful day.